Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I'm Tahir Dhindsa and you're watching SDTV. The globe was going all right. All of a sudden, the climate has gone haywire. Climate change is once it was an academic discussion. Now, global warming and climate change is here, it is here, and it's now. And we are facing it. Freak events and rise of sea, unusual high temperature, rain in the middle of season when there would have been no rain, four season in some years, four season reduced to three seasons, absence of spring. We have seen 1 or 2 years back in Pakistan as well. Even this year, the weather is not stereotypical that it used to be. And it was so typical that in rural area the people would smell the air and tell you that the monsoon is this much away and it's coming. And in the month when this monsoon would happen, there was a whole folklore, sawan ke jhule pade and all, all sort of. But now it is all topsy turvy. So obviously now it has, instead of bringing a change and bounty, it is bringing disasters. Somebody has to do planning for that, and that planning has to be global and at the national state, and it need macroeconomic changes and all that. In Pakistan, we have an institution which is called NDMRF, which provides assistance and some policy guidance for disaster risk management in Pakistan. We have today with us a CEO of the NDMRF, Mr. Bilal Anwar, who is just leaving his post after completing their tenure for the next incumbent to come over and do the thing. And we are going to ask him where he is leaving. Bilal Saab, very warm welcome.
Thank you very much for having me here.
Yeah, please say something on where are you leaving your institution in Pakistan?
Well, I think the context which you have set about this, the climate changes and the difficult situation and the challenges which the world is facing, and Pakistan, of course, is not alone in this situation. It's a global challenge, and Pakistan happened to be one of those countries, geographically and atmospherically, where it is actually facing the brunt of the challenge when it comes to the climate change. So some of the disasters which we have been seeing, and they are actually direct result of the climatic changes which are happening. So it's a difficult situation right now in which the whole world is, and then Pakistan particularly in a difficult and a challenging situation in this. The NDRMF was actually built, it was established exactly for this purpose. And the people or those visionary leaders who actually established the NDRMF, they had a very good vision about it, the kind of challenges which the country was facing. And they also had the vision about it that it cannot be addressed only with the relief work or recovery work in a post-disaster scenario. It needs an adaptation. It needs the disaster risk reduction, because those risks need to be reduced in a systematic and in a planned manner. So NDMF was actually established exactly for this purpose, for establishing the fiscal resilience, for climate adaptation, and reducing the risk to the disasters or climate induced disasters.
If I just ask you, during your tenure, you must have initially planned something, then execution. And what do you think is what is the main keel of what you have done?
So there are a few initiatives which I'm really proud of it, and with the entire team and the board of directors of NDRMF and the larger set of stakeholders and the partners who actually contributed very heavily. So when I came on board and I took over the reins of NDRMF, I realized that okay, it has done a remarkable work with regard to the implementation of the projects for disaster restoration, flood protection, watershed management, a number of other initiatives. But then when it comes to the knowledge capacity, there was a number of gaps as well. And one particular area was related to the risk modeling. There was no capacity in the country to undertake the disaster and the climate risk modeling. So I took up the initiative and actually take up this as a priority and set up this natural catastrophic model, which is called the NetCat, and which is a remarkable application. It actually does the risk modeling and provides a very good scientific basis for future planning. It can model it out up to 300, 400 years in advance for most of the challenges, for most of the perils or disaster which Pakistan has been traditionally and historically been facing. So that was one particular area which I believe is going to go very strongly and meaningfully and impactfully in shaping up the climate adaptation, disaster risk reduction, and disaster risk financing landscape in Pakistan. And this is one of the quite a remarkable, iconic contribution of NDRMF.
Have you gelled this model with the climate change? Because the figures and the targets, not I think they don't seem to be relevant. For example, 1.5 degree was it's no more relevant. U.S. commitment after the Paris Agreement, where
Mhm.
President Obama and those commitments are not being honored. 100 billion of the private sector and all that. We all know the reduction in the use of carbon footprint through reducing burning of fossil fuel and switching to carbon, because war is being fought for the petroleum resources. We all know that.
Yeah.
That is the baseline for that war.
Mhm.
We like it or not.
Yeah.
So have you gelled because that is another risk, not the client. That is another risk, principal risk. Have you modeled your model to that as well?
Yeah, wonderful question. Talking a little bit more kind of in quantitative or numbers terms, you're absolutely right. The 1.5-degree target, which was established in the Paris Agreement, all the trajectories, all the numbers are basically showing that that is already missed out. So we are actually talking about between
2.5.
2.5 to 3 degrees centigrade, and even 1.5 was considered to be something which is going to be making transformative changes and disastrous changes into the world. So just imagine at 2.5 or 3 degrees centigrade what kind of a challenges the world is going to face, and then how those are going to be trickling down to countries like Pakistan. So the climate models are there. They are actually doing the projections, and they are showing how the world is changing, how the climate is changing, and the implications it's going to have on the economy, societies, communities. This NDRMF NetCat model is linked with the the latest climate models. So that has been actually taken into consideration, factored in the latest modeling at that point in time, and then of course it need to be updated from time to time, and that's where the new scenarios and the new trajectories and the new risks are going to be quantified. So this has been taken into consideration and taken care of, because otherwise this whole thing, as you rightly said, this whole thing would have become outdated and irrelevant in a very short span of time. The classical definition of the climate change is the changes which are happening on a very long period of time. This is the difference between the weather and the climate change. But what we are seeing right now is not really on an extremely long period of time. We're actually seeing the changes which are happening on a short to medium term of the time as well. In our own lives, we have actually witnessed quite a remarkable changes. So I think the model is very relevant, and it is very well established, scientifically built, and its linkages and its updating from the international and the regional climate models, which will keep it relevant and extremely valid.
Now you are leaving this institution in the hands of the new successor. And I personally know him. He's very competent, very diligent, and a very meaningful person. And I personally think that he's going to do it well. But do you think there should be some element of continuity? And what are those things which you think that must be taken from where the thread is being broken or it's being tied again?
Yeah, I think institutionally, I'm leaving NDRMF at a much better, refined, solid, established situation. And there are a number of initiatives which NDMF have figured out in the last 3-4 years. NetCat is one, National Disaster Risk Financing Strategy is another one, Solidarity Fund is another one, and then there are a number of other initiatives which are extremely relevant, and they have been actually designed and configured. in consideration to the challenges which Pakistan is facing and which Pakistan is going to face in future. So that remains the kind of institutionally. It's a very comfortable place right now, and NMF it can play a very, and I'm absolutely sure it's going to play a very meaningful and impactful full role in moving ahead. Now, the new CEO is, as you said, I think he's extremely accomplished, and he has a vision, and he has expressed his vision, and I think I have absolutely no doubt that he is going to be taking the institution forward in a lot more impactful manner than I could have done it actually. So having said that, of course, I have no doubt, and he has the support from the team. He has a remarkable board of directors as well, which of course is going to be supporting him as well. But having said that, uh, in the climate space, in a disaster space, there are a number of challenges, and those challenges need to be very vigilant about those challenges as well. An institution like NDRMF can actually work wonders if there is a support from the government and the side, and that support need to be there, and that support need to be very much demonstrated as well. I think one of the first priority of the new CEO should be, and I'm sure that is going to be, is having a larger kind of collaboration and networks and the partnerships with a larger set of stakeholders, both within the government as well as outside the government as well. And there's a remarkable work which is being undertaken by the civil society. I think that need to be brought into the lot more meaningful manner as well. So
Right. So continuity, that the bottom line is that the individual suppleness of the memory need to be converted as a heritage or as a working handbook, as in form of the institutional memory. Do you think that whenever a top man leaves, he should be made part of the board of directors for some time, a year, or for a midterm, for continuity's sake?
I think that's a very interesting idea, and I think it certainly is going to make quite a positive kind of a contribution into the continuity, into the having a less disruption, and at the same time providing that kind of a support and some of the mistakes or some of the learnings which the outgoing person actually carrying with him or her. So the board having the responsibility of this broader strategic direction, I think without actually going into the day-to-day management of the institution, I think the board can provide that kind of contributions as well as the guidance
Throw
with the
light on the pathway.
throw light on the pathway, and then the person being part of the board of directors for some time, I think that certainly is going to improve the continuity, the institutional memory, and then of course learning from somebody who has been in the helm of the affairs, and then the collective, kind of contributing to the collective wisdom of the board as well. So I think this is a great idea. It is even more kind of interesting within the specific context of Pakistan, where this institutional memory, the systems are not really mature, they are not very strengthened, and then most of the time the institutional memory is actually, and the knowledge is lost. And then every
Yeah.
time it actually has to be rebuilt. It takes a lot of effort, it's a
Reinvent
costly.
reinvent the wheel at a small scale. Yes.
Reinvent the wheel at the small scale, and then most of the time the wheel is not very different either.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can keep on kind of
Go all over
reinventing the
again.
very similar kind of wheel as well, and then the institutions keep on making the very similar kind of mistakes as well, and which of course should not be the case. So I'm in full favor of this idea, and I think that can be having a
Can
very
be a
positive.
that can be a game changer.
That can be a game changer,
Bilal
certainly.
Sab, thank you very much for making yourself available for this talk, and I think it's very valuable. And I think the new CEO will use his full abilities, which he has. I personally know him,
Hmm.
so I think it's a hopeful transition, And
No,
the
certainly hopeful.
future seems to be good.
No, certainly, certainly hopeful.
You are leaving probably institution in safe hands. It seems.
No, no, I have no doubt about it.
Yeah.
And he's an extremely competent person, bringing a lot of international knowledge and experience with him as well. And he has a remarkably supportive team as well, and then a very visionary board of directors.
Yeah.
So I think these are the basic ingredients a new person needs. And so I have no doubt that he is going to take the institution forward, and he's going to be making it a lot more strengthened.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank
With
you.
this, we come to the end of the program. Bye for now.